Ethics and global responsibility are not just abstract concepts, they are the heartbeats of a meaningful existence, a path towards a better future for all. And who better to guide us on this path than the Dalai Lama, whose teachings are infused with compassion, wisdom, and an understanding of our shared humanity? He often speaks of a philosophy of global responsibility, one that calls on us to act not just kindly towards each other, but responsibly towards the environment too. Imagine if each of us adopted this perspective, how much could we change? The Dalai Lama's teachings transcend religious boundaries. His message is not just for Buddhists, it's for all of us, whatever our background or beliefs. At its core, his vision for a better world is rooted in one powerful idea: compassion. It's a concept that's so simple, yet deeply transformative. Let's dive deeper into his ideas on ethics and global responsibility, and explore how we can turn them into action in our everyday lives. The concept of global ethics, as envisioned by the Dalai Lama, is not about following a specific set of rules that are rigid or exclusive. It's about universal human values, compassion, love, tolerance, and altruism, that bind us all together. Imagine a world where everyone treated each other with kindness and empathy, where our differences were celebrated rather than feared. Isn't that the kind of world we all hope for? Deep down, he speaks of an interdependence that connects all beings. Every action we take, whether big or small, affects someone else. It's a powerful reminder that we are not isolated islands. We're part of something much bigger. This awareness of interconnectedness brings about a sense of responsibility that extends beyond our immediate family or community. It's a call to care for humanity at large and the planet we all share. The Dalai Lama's concept of global ethics is fundamentally tied to empathy, the ability to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. Empathy is what allows us to see beyond our own needs and desires, and to recognize the needs of others. It's the foundation for building a compassionate world, where the well-being of others is just as important as our own. He also speaks about the importance of dialogue in fostering global ethics. We must be willing to listen to others, even when we don't agree with them. True dialogue is about understanding, not just about winning an argument. Imagine how much more peaceful our world would be if we all approached conflicts with the intention of understanding rather than defeating the other person. Global responsibility toward humanity. The idea of global responsibility can feel overwhelming at times. How can one person possibly make a difference in the world? But the Dalai Lama reminds us that compassion is not passive. True compassion is active. It's a commitment to alleviate suffering wherever we encounter it. Imagine if each of us took small, deliberate actions every day, helping someone in need, standing up against injustice, or simply being kind to those around us. Wouldn't that ripple outwards and inspire change? The Dalai Lama also calls for collaboration and dialogue. He knows that the challenges we face, poverty, war, climate change, are too vast to be solved alone. We need each other. We need to reach out, build bridges, and work together. It's time to shift our focus from competition to cooperation, from self-interest to collective well-being. One of the key aspects of global responsibility is recognizing our shared humanity. No matter where we come from, what language we speak, or what religion we follow, we all share the same basic needs: to be loved, to be safe, to be happy. When we understand this, it becomes easier to see others not as strangers, but as brothers and sisters. This sense of shared humanity is what drives us to act with compassion and to take responsibility for the welfare of others. Another important element of global responsibility is the idea of justice. The Dalai Lama often speaks about the importance of standing up against injustice, wherever it occurs. This doesn't mean we all need to become activists or politicians, but it does mean that we should not turn a blind eye to suffering. We have a moral obligation to speak out when we see others being treated unfairly, and to support those who are working to create a more just world. Responsibility toward the environment. The earth does not belong to us, we belong to the earth. The Dalai Lama's words on environmental responsibility carry a profound truth. Our planet is a shared resource, not just for us but for future generations. Are we doing enough to protect it? Are we acting as responsible stewards, or are we mindlessly depleting its resources? The Dalai Lama urges us to address climate change and promote sustainability. He challenges us to rethink our lifestyles, to consume mindfully, reduce waste, and be conscious of our impact. It's a reminder that our relationship with nature is sacred. Protecting it is not just an environmental issue, it's an ethical duty, an obligation to future generations who deserve to inherit a livable planet. The Dalai Lama often speaks about the interconnectedness of all living beings. This interconnectedness extends to our relationship with the natural world. The health of our planet directly affects our own well-being. When we harm the environment, we are ultimately harming ourselves. Recognizing this interconnectedness can help us develop a deeper sense of responsibility towards the environment and motivate us to take actions that protect and preserve it. One of the ways we can fulfill our responsibility towards the environment is by adopting more sustainable lifestyles. This doesn't mean making drastic changes overnight, but rather taking small, meaningful steps that collectively make a big difference. For example, reducing our use of plastic, conserving water, and supporting renewable energy initiatives are all ways we can contribute to the health of our planet. The Dalai Lama reminds us that even small actions, when multiplied by millions of people, can have a significant impact. Ethics beyond religious boundaries. One of the most beautiful aspects of the Dalai Lama's teachings is that they transcend religion. Ethics, he says, should not be confined to any particular faith. It's about our shared humanity. It's about finding common ground amidst our differences. Imagine if we focused more on what unites us rather than what divides us. Wouldn't that bring us closer to the peace we all long for? Dalai Lama speaks of secular ethics, a moral compass that is based on universal values, not religious doctrine. This kind of ethics invites people of all beliefs to come together for the common good. It's a powerful vision of unity in diversity, one that offers hope for a world that often feels fragmented. Secular ethics is about recognizing that, regardless of our religious beliefs, or lack thereof, we all have a responsibility to act with compassion and integrity. It's about creating a moral framework that is inclusive, that respects the diversity of human experience, and that encourages us to work together for the benefit of all. The Dalai Lama believes that this kind of ethical system is essential for addressing the complex challenges of the modern world, where people of different backgrounds must coexist and collaborate. Another important aspect of ethics beyond religious boundaries is respect for religious diversity. The Dalai Lama encourages us to respect all religions, recognizing that they all share common goals, fostering compassion, love, and kindness. By focusing on these commonalities, rather than the differences, we can create a more tolerant and peaceful world. He often speaks of the importance of interfaith dialogue as a way to build understanding and reduce conflict. Imagine a world where people of all religions came together, not to debate or compete, but to learn from one another and to work together for the common good. Putting global responsibility into practice. How do we bring these lofty ideas into our everyday lives? The Dalai Lama believes that education is key, not just academic education, but education of the heart. Schools should teach children not just how to excel academically, but how to live ethically, how to be compassionate citizens of the world. Can you imagine how different the world would be if every child learned kindness and empathy alongside math and science? It's also about individual engagement. Each of us has the power to make a difference, no matter how small. By being kind, reducing our environmental footprint, and speaking out against injustice, we contribute to a better world. And remember, every small action matters. Even the tiniest act of kindness can create ripples of positive change. The Dalai Lama often speaks about the importance of mindfulness in putting global responsibility into practice. Mindfulness is about being aware of our thoughts, actions, and their impact on others. By practicing mindfulness, we can become more attuned to the needs of those around us and more conscious of how our actions affect the world. This awareness can help us make choices that are more compassionate and responsible, whether it's how we interact with others, how we consume resources, or how we respond to challenges. Another way to put global responsibility into practice is through community involvement. The Dalai Lama encourages us to engage with our communities, to volunteer, and to support initiatives that promote social and environmental well-being. By working together with others, we can amplify our impact and create positive change on a larger scale. Community involvement also helps us build connections with others, fostering a sense of belonging and shared purpose. The Dalai Lama also emphasizes the importance of patience and perseverance. Creating a better world is not something that happens overnight. It requires consistent effort, and there will inevitably be setbacks along the way. But the Dalai Lama reminds us that every step we take towards compassion and responsibility, no matter how small, is meaningful. It's about progress, not perfection. By staying committed to our values and continuing to take action, we can contribute to meaningful change over time. Conclusion: the Dalai Lama's philosophy on ethics and global responsibility challenges us to be better, to move beyond self-centeredness and embrace our role in the broader human story. We are all interconnected. The well-being of others impacts our own. By fostering compassion, practicing secular ethics, and protecting our environment, we contribute to a world that is more peaceful, just, and sustainable. So, let's not just admire these teachings from afar. Let's live them. Let's start small, be kind to a stranger, care for our environment, help someone in need. Imagine if each of us took one step today towards global responsibility. How much more beautiful could our world become? The journey to a better world is one we all share. It's a journey that requires each of us to play our part, to take responsibility for our actions, and to act with compassion and integrity. The Dalai Lama's teachings remind us that we have the power to make a difference, no matter how small. Let's take that to heart, and let's work together to create a world that reflects the best of our shared humanity. If you want to dive deeper into any aspect of the Dalai Lama's teachings or explore how to put these ideas into practice in your own life, let's discuss it together. After all, the journey to a better world is one we all share.